Hey, welcome back to the Experience Share. My name is Blake, and today we are playing perhaps the first ever Witch gameplay video ever on YouTube. But we're playing the Witch here tonight, released at Gen Con, 24 hours ago? And it has tap, curse, target avatar, choose one. Their spells cost one more to cast on their next turn. They could lose 2 life, or they have -3 power until your next turn. So what we are playing here is Witch on Tabletop Simulator, and we're doing kind of a Witch Burn Maddening Bells package here. And so let's go ahead and get into the deck list, and you can ignore the Sorcerer. Pretend that it says Witch. Because we're playing kind of a burn package here, we're playing 3 of the Thunderstorms. We want to only have 3 to 4 sites. And so I'm hoping that we can draw an extra spell by even opening up with an Amethyst Core, a Pea Stone, a Ruby Core. But there's a good chance that you really don't even need Ruby Core and Amethyst Core. I think Philosopher's Stone is a nice to have. I don't think it's a need to have here. Trinkets are really good. I picked this up from the Avatar Vertex that are running around right now. And so because we're playing such low to the ground minions, we want to be able to use our mana. And if you get to play this, you always are able to use that excess mana in your hand. You always have the card to play. And, these 2 power things can swing for 3, your 3s can swing for 4. You'd be surprised how much damage Trinket can go ahead and deal in here. Maddening Bells, one of the staples of this deck, because we're going to be able to use this plus bats. Curse our opponent, making their spells cost 1 more. Maddening Bells make their spells cost 2 more. It costs 3 more to be able to cast something, and you'll see here in this gameplay video that Witch Maddening Bells might be the meanest combination in Sorcery. Coming down to Highland Falconer, this has Genesis go fetch a bat out of your deck. Bat's really good. They have Burrowing. We can cast a Maddening Bells into the bat's hands, or into their claws, I guess in this case, leaving them nearby our opponent's avatars, keeping them far away from us. Violimp, really strong because it's low to the ground, 2 mana, 2 power, has the innate ability to deal 2 damage. Can be a really strong card. And then a Violimp plus, bats that can deal 4. You give it the Trinket, you can deal 5. So really good here. Kaliki Dragonets are a card that I'm iffy on in this. This is another one of the ones, I brewed around really quick. I wanted to get this video out there. So Dragonites might not be the best fit here because of the 2 fire threshold. Now you'll see that we lean a little bit more into air sites, and so I don't mind playing some of the double air threshold. But because we're only playing 3 to 4 sites, it can be tough to guarantee that you're going to have 2 fire threshold. So Dragonets are good because they're a 3/3 that shoot a projectile every turn, but I don't know if that's quite worth it. Hippogriffs, really strong because of the charge and the airborne. We are also playing Chaos Twister. Towers are really strong, so I don't mind playing double air because I want a mulligan for a tower. I don't necessarily always need to have the fire thresholds, and so that's where Dragonets being 2 fire is different than Hippogriffs being 2 air. Cavalry, on the other hand, only being 1 fire, really strong here because of the 1 pip having charge. It almost comes in, deals 3 right away. We're playing a split of Firebolt and Lightning Bolt because this is an aggressive burn package. We can always tap our Witch to deal 2 damage, or to take 2 life. And the Firebolts here, I'm only playing 2 of because we're not really moving our Witch around, and we don't have any other spellcasters. But we are playing 4 Lightning Bolts to be able to just drop bolts on top of our opponent. There's not a lot of big minion removal, so we're playing Chaos Twister and Infiltrates as ways to be able to deal with big threats. Sites, nothing too special here. Cloud Cities, 2 of each of the towers. Observatory to be able to help stack our deck, hopefully find our Maddening Bells sooner rather than later. Deserts, just so we can increase our fire threshold. River of Flame, this is an additional spellcaster. We can infiltrate things underground. We can shoot off a firebolt that's through the projectile lens of the flame. River of Flame, strong here. Ruins obviously include smokestacks to be able to turn off some of our opponent's sites here. It doesn't really impact us too much. We don't have anything that really just stands around. Vesuvius is just an extra way that we could potentially deal 3 damage to an avatar if this gets cast near our opponent's avatar, but it can also be a defensive tool to go ahead and remove some of our opponent's threats. It might be tough to get 3 fire threshold, so if there's another site that you want to play, feel free to look into it. Watchtower here, a couple of watchtower. Same thing. Maybe these could be some more fire sites to be able to help us be able to cast dragonets easier. I don't really want an infiltrated hippogriffs or things along those lines. So being able to get rid of infiltrated targets, help also deal with some stealth threats. I felt like a good 2 of in here. But that is enough of the deck profile. Let's go ahead and get into the game. Our first ever witch match here. And we get the 2, so we are going to be on the draw, passing over to our opponent playing Seer. All right, and taking a look here at our opening hand, look what we have. We have Maddening Bells, we have Bats. I couldn't draw it up any better. We have 0 fire threshold, so that instantly means, all right, Dragonets, you're gone. I love seeing a tower. I like seeing the Cloud City here. So if we did need to potentially move our witch around, we could move it with the Cloud City. Maybe there's since I'm only mulliganing 1, maybe there's a reason to go ahead and mulligan that to help dig for a fire threshold, just to ensure that we're able to get it here. But we are able to draw the desert off the top, and so feeling pretty good about this hand, kind of mapping out our turn here. It looks like we're going to play, we could do tower, we could do Cloud City, we could do desert. It doesn't really matter which one on turn 1. I'm sorry, it does, in the sense that we're either going to be doing desert or Cloud City. So we want to save our tower to be able to cast a turn early Maddening Bells. And so if I had to guess here, we'll probably play the desert first. And so that way we can go ahead, have the Cloud City in a place to be able to move our minions around if we need to. All right, our opponent has finished mulliganing. They are going to start off with a lighthouse, pass it over to us. We draw a cavalry for turn here, and so we just go desert and pass here to our opponent. And so they are playing air, water with Seer. Interesting combination. Haven't seen too much of this. I wonder what the kind of combo they're digging for. A lot of the times when you see Seer, they're playing some sort of combo deck, maybe a throne. I don't know. Floodplain, oh, that could be annoying for us. Okay, he plays it farther away, and so that's good. So floodplain, and then because if he would play that and we had a bat submerged, that would actually kill our bat, and so that's not that wouldn't be a good thing. But with floodplain over there, that's not going to be an issue. We'll be able to cast a bat's underground here, and I will say it's kind of funny casting a bat under a Cloud City. It feels like if you're casting something underground to Cloud City, you're still in the air. But obviously that's just a play on the words here. All right. And our opponent trying to think over exactly what site they're going to be playing here and where they want to play it. But we have a devastating turn 2 tower, or turn 3 tower into Maddening Bells. All your spells cost 2 additional mana. Okay, and they play a great wall. That's not going to stop our bats from being able to sneak under there. We just can't move on top of. The turtle is going to be hard for us to deal with. We don't have a ton of great ways to be able to deal with turtle. Potentially a firebolt would be good to deal with the turtle. You shoot the first firebolt, it breaks the invincibility, and then you can hit it with the next 2 to go ahead and finish it off. But we draw a trinket for turn. We're going to be able to tap, play a tower, and we'll be able to move under our opponent's site, casting a Maddening Bells, and that is going to make all their spells cost 2 additional mana, and it's underground, hard for our opponent to be able to deal with. The reason we went and played the site on site 19 instead of up next to the right of Cloud City is we wanted to be able to ensure that we had mobility if needed with the Cloud City, just giving us extra options there and giving our opponents less opportunities to be able to attack us. All right, and our opponent draws for turn, and let's see. So we playing a site down here. Okay, observatory. They'll get to search the top 3 cards, put them back into any order. Although the first one is after looking at it with Seer. Okay, and our opponent goes ahead and buries the bats underground, gets in, and attacks for 2 with the Tufted Turtle. And they pass over to us. Okay. So we have an option here. We can draw a site to be able to play a cavalry down, but we can also start witch locking here. And I think the witch lock is where we're going to be going. So we're going to tap, make our opponents, we're going to curse the seer here, make their spells cost 1 more, plus the maddening bells, which is going to make it cost 3 in total. We'll cast the trinket to our bat and go ahead and finish off our opponent's bat there. With the additional 2 mana, we can play a Highland Falconer, go fetch out another bat here, and we'll pass over to our opponent. All right, and our opponent draws a site. They go ahead and tap to see, let's see where they're going to end up playing here. Okay, sorry, they actually go ahead and attack in with the turtles. Okay, and Falconer goes down from the turtle attack. Right now, our opponent's in a pretty tough spot because all their spells cost 3 extra mana to cast. So they do go ahead and now play out the Maelstrom. That means they have 5 mana left. And with that 5 mana, they go ahead and let's see what they cast here. All right, and they're going to cast a blink. So spending 5 mana to blink their turtle back 1 site here. And that's just the power of Witch Maddening Bells. It's be really tough for our opponents to be able to play out those 3 cards in hand, because right now the biggest spell they can cast right now was a 2 cost, and that's it. They can't have any sort of other follow-up here. It's going to limit our opponent to pretty much 1 spell a turn. And so they pass it over to us. Our bat's still underground, so we draw for turn. And we're debating here, do we draw a spell? Do we draw a site? We want to keep the lock going here. And so we're going to go ahead and tap with the Maddening Bells. And we'll go ahead and curse, so everything costs 3 more. We're going to use the Violimp to go ahead and deal the first bit of 2 damage to our turtle friend. And then we're going to drop the Maddening Bells, come up and attack with the trinkets on our Pilvery Bats to go ahead and finish off that Tufted Turtle. We have 1 extra bat left to come in and swoop in for 2 damage. You know, an option there actually would have been to, oh no, I wouldn't have been able to pick it up and then attack. Let's say, could I have picked up the trinket and done an extra point of damage? But no, not on this one. So we will pass over to our opponent. All right, and our opponent kind of forced to take a site here because the most expensive card they can play right now is 2 cost, because everything costs 3 more with the Curse from the Witch and the Maddening Bells. Such a tough combination to be able to deal with. So our opponent does draw the site. Let's see. Okay, they play out the Observatory. All right, they got their cards sorted in the order that they want. They're able to cast a Disenchant. And so Disenchant is target location and destroy all auras and artifacts. So I'm pretty sure that kills the Maddening Bells here. If it would have said target artifact or target site, artifact at a site 2 away, it wouldn't have worked because you couldn't have targeted it because it was underground. However, because it says target site, I'm pretty sure that does go ahead and get rid of the Maddening Bells here. So now it is only the 1 cost reduction, but it spent 5 mana to cast that Disenchant, so they have to go ahead and pass. We do go ahead and draw the site here because the curse for 1 isn't quite as impactful as a curse for 3, but we are able to play the ruins to get our cavalry out, and we can go ahead and start attacking away here. So that's what, 2, 4, 6, 9 damage here, taking them down to 9. Pretty big swing here after not really being able to play much. I have a big board. It's going to be hard to be able to deal with. And now, making everything that they had cost 3 made it really tough to be able to deal with some of these bigger minions. Lord of the Unland coming down here from our opponents. And that costs 4. There's no sort of extra tax on them. So that they have 2 extra mana if they wish, but they go ahead and pass it over to us. All right, and for our turn, doing some math here, how do we get 9 with the Lord of Unland there being able to block? So we can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by using the bat. There we go, the imp, and then the cavalry. And then this is where the witch comes in, and we can tap our witch to drain for 2 additional here, and that'll take our opponent down to death's door. We still haven't spent a single mana yet, and we're going to be able to cast a double trinket to keep our bats alive and go ahead and remove that Lord of Unland. And our opponent is at death's door, and we are going to go ahead and pass over there. Now, because Witch says they lose 2 life, that means that we cannot just kill them instantly next turn. We do have to still deal the physical damage to our opponent. Loss of life is not good enough to finish the game. That would probably be a bit overpowered if you could just tap to kill somebody that on death's door with the witch. I don't know though, but Maddening Bells plus the tap curse for an extra 1, that feels pretty overpowered right there. It definitely slowed our opponent down a lot while we were able to continue to cast things on rate for us on our turns. So we will pass over to our opponent here, and they actually play out the Hydra. Hydra is going to be tough for us to deal with because it's immune to non-lethal damage. Obviously, we're playing a whole bunch of small mini minions here, and so we'll have to see how we can get around this. Lightning Bolt is a 50-50 shot. I don't love leaving games at 50-50s, but an Infiltrate off the top is going to be enough for us to be able to go ahead and take over the Hydra, swing in with the bats for 2. All right, and that is going to do it. What did you think of the Witch Maddening Bells combination? Is this the most broken avatar that we currently have? Maddening Bells Witch, is that going to be taking over the meta? How would you play Witch? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care.